and welcome to Behind the Career, the show designed to help you get rid of all the confusing information online and instead see and hear from real people as they talk about their career and training experiences. We'll be taking you behind the scenes of industries that are usually hidden from the public. I'm Caitlin Rodham.
And I'm Patrick Malmo. Today we are focusing on local government.
This episode is focused on the Greater Hume Shire Council, located in beautiful Holbrook. Remember, you can also check out behindthecareer.com for even more resources and links to helpful information.
There will be resources like Life Launcher, My Future and Job Outlook. For now though, we will meet the Greater Hume Shire's General Manager who will walk us through the many options available, whether you prefer indoor or outdoor environments.
We try and change around a bit just to keep it new.
Greater Hume Shire is quite a diverse area made up of 5 major towns, including Jindera, Holbrook, Culcairn, Henty and Walla, as well as several villages.
Overall, we've got about 10,500 people across 6,000 square kilometres. You know, we're the third tier of local government, and we see ourselves as being the tier of government that's closest to the people. Most of the residents and ratepayers, know the council staff. We're involved in the local footy clubs and the local cricket clubs and tennis clubs and all those sorts of organisations. So therefore, we feel that we've got, good links to the community.
Councillors are the elected body, with elections occurring every 4 years. The General Manager reports directly to the councillors and the Mayor, who oversee the GM's performance. And then it is the General Manager's responsibility to oversee the performance of the staff that are providing the service to the community on a daily basis.
We have a council meeting at least once a month. Those meetings are open to the public and people can come along. So look, the core function of local government really, as I've said, is delivering services that matter to people. So that's whether it's providing adequate roads, parks and gardens, sports ground facilities, making sure when you get up in the morning and turn the tap on, the water comes out of the tap, sewerage services, just those basic day-to-day services that people require to undertake their daily lives. We feel that we're the provider of the majority of those services, even though a lot of the funding for those services might come from another tier of government, either the federal government or the state government. But we just provide a whole host of services, whether it's picking up the garbage, animal control to make sure that there are not dogs wandering around the streets, all those sort of basic things that people wouldn't necessarily think about on a day-to-day basis. I left school relatively early to get a job in the bank. So in today's terms, I would have left halfway through year 11. Well, I had a bit of a career journey before I moved into local government, working in the club industry for a while, and then joined Murray Shire back in 1986 and then went back to university as a mature age student. So I've got a Bachelor of Business, specialising in accounting and local government. Coming up through a finance background, I was a pretty good student at maths when I was at school and the sciences. Not so good at English, but I'd say my strong suit was always around numbers, and that's what led me into accounting in the early years.
The Greater Hume Shire has an active apprenticeship and traineeship program, with new apprentices and trainees joining the organisation each year. This program has changed the dynamics of the workplace for the better by introducing younger and less experienced workers with those who have been with council for much longer periods, paving the way for fantastic mentoring opportunities.
We're trying to work closely with our local schools around, I suppose, raising awareness of local government with our local schools and therefore their students, with some programs that we're running like our Work Inspiration Days that we've run successfully now for 4 or 5 years, where we bring Year 10 kids in or Year 9 kids in and expose them to some of the career opportunities in local government. Hopefully some of those kids will come back into work experience and then end up with either a school-based traineeship or a traineeship later on. There's a great variety of roles within local government, both for people that probably see themselves as being more outdoors related, like in your parks and gardens roles, civil construction areas, building roads, etc., or for those that see themselves as being, perhaps more business-minded. There's the roles that in the administrative staff or in planning areas around planning streetscapes and parks and gardens and recreation reserves and those sorts of facilities. So within Greater Hume there's a lot of tourism opportunities, and particularly Holbrook's well known for the submarine. Generally speaking, people that travel between Melbourne and Sydney know Holbrook for 2 things basically. It's either the submarine, which is quite unique being in a park so far inland, or the Holbrook Bakery, and since the bypass the town has been able to redevelop itself to provide an opportunity for people to pull off the main highway, something to eat and have a relax in some of our beautiful parks.
I love the fact that we have so many career options within local government too, Patrick. So if one role isn't quite right, you can choose another role and stay within the council.
That's right, Caitlin. Just like the next two people we are about to meet. Let's meet them now.
I'm the Environmental Health and Building Surveyor with Council. I do a lot of assessing of building development, but I also cover public health. So that involves food premises. So I inspect food premises to make sure that they are compliant with the Food Act, which entails a lot of meeting with the public. It also means that I have to make a lot of phone calls to a lot of people, and we also get a lot of phone calls coming in relation to not just the building industry but the planning industry as well. I wasn't a terribly academic student at school, and I didn't terribly like school very much, but it was part of those years that you grew and developed. So the subjects I took at school never really benefited me with this role, but I don't see that as a problem, because during life and our work we change. So subjects at school, just because we do one set of subjects at school and they don't relate to us in work, doesn't matter, because there's always improvements that you can work on when you're out in your work life.
Sharon completed a diploma in building surveying through a provider online. This worked out to be a good way to get a qualification, as Sharon had online training but also had on-the-job training, which she found really beneficial.
Even though my goals and aspirations when I was at school wasn't what I'm doing now with Council, in long and short of it was that I wanted to ride horses. That's what I wanted to do as a living. But I still do that. I started my local government career as the Executive Director to the General Manager as a fill-in role. And then I applied for the Records Officer's role, which I was successful in getting that. So I was a Records Officer for 5 years with Council, and then was given the opportunity to move across into environmental and planning. And here I am today, and I've been with Council for 13 years. Just to get into a traineeship or a cadetship or an apprenticeship is the best way to get into my role, because you're learning, you're getting a tertiary education, but you're also learning on the job stuff as well. If I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, don't know that I'd change a great deal. Maybe look at maybe doing a few on-the-job training courses, so going out and talking to building certifiers and saying, can I do some work experience? Talk to Council. And I think the course of action that I took through my school was enough to get me where I am today.
Emily Jones is the youth officer and loves working within the Greater Hume, dealing with people aged from 12 to 25. Her role covers a wide area and entails organising school holiday activities, youth week programs, running festivals and other events for young people to enjoy within the Shire.
I started very young in my career pathway. I was first of all a volunteer at the Greater Hume Youth Advisory Committee. So I think I started when I was year 9, so I was 14 or 15. And from there I found my way up to the chairperson position in there. And then I also started volunteering within the library during the Duke of Edinburgh. So that was my year 11 to year 12. And when they realised they couldn't really get rid of me, they offered me a traineeship. Somehow I was successful in getting it in library and customer service and youth. So I got to do the whole area of the Greater Hume Council, which was fabulous. And when I finished that in 2019, they gave me a position as a youth officer. So I was so surprised how many subjects at school helped me in my job and helped me get my way to the youth officer. I thought it was going to be your basic, English, working in the library and going through all the books, but I've used drama and music, doing story times and running the youth events. I've used maths in terms of my budgeting and in terms of finances and banking, and all the science I've used running our amazing youth week events and school holiday events. So it was really such a broad covering of all my subjects, which was quite impressive. I was well prepared.
Oh, it was written by him.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I'll take that.
Right. There you go, Rick. Thanks for coming in. So my qualification for my job when I took my traineeship, they put me through a Cert 4 in Library and Information Services, which was amazing. It covered everything to do with libraries. It covers customer service. It covers how to manage small parts of business and things like that. So I was really, really well qualified, and I absolutely loved doing that through TAFE New South Wales, and being a trainee was fantastic. So I was working with my boss and my mentor, Susan, and she led me through how to do all of the school holiday activities and all the youth week, and how to, run a meeting with the youth advisory committee students. And from there, my passion really grew, and that's why at the end of my traineeship, I was really lucky to be employed as a youth officer there. But my traineeship really, it helped me with everything that I did. The benefits of working with local government is so immense. I've never felt so supported and happy and really cared for in a work environment before. So I had plenty of other jobs before I started working here, and this has really been the one that I found like I found my work family. You always strive to do when you join a workforce. So my advice to any school student that's wanting to find their career pathway, especially if it's coming into local government, would be really do your research and find out what local government really does, what the area of council that you're looking at really does, and whether that is the right option for you. And if it is, then find out if there's a way, a traineeship or an apprenticeship into it. Do some work experience when you're in year 10.
I love that there's a good mix of indoor and outdoor roles within local government. If I really like to work up a sweat though and enjoy more hands-on tasks, even working with big machinery, what are my options?
I'd probably look at some of the parks and gardens roles, maybe maintenance, but if you really want to work with big machinery, Caitlin, you may like to become a grader.
A grader? I've already got plenty of graders looking at my work here at school.
Not that type of grader, the slightly larger with big wheels and lots of power.
Sounds like a good time to roll into our next segment.
Sam is the leading hand maintenance grader driver at Greater Hume Shire, whose responsibilities include taking machinery out to work sites, driving a grader, a roller and a water truck, and reshaping roads when required. Here on site at Henty, Sam and the team are moving the main road over to allow room for B-double trucks to be able to cross over the railway line safely.
So I finished school in 2011. I went to uni for a year, and I found that it wasn't for me. I would have rather joined a workforce like this. I was a reasonable student. I enjoyed school, like some parts of school, more the hands-on side of things. To start off with, I wanted to get into architecture sort of thing. But just the going from 12 years of school straight into uni and studying and everything, I wasn't as interested in that side of things as I thought that I was. And then getting a little bit of experience out here, I've found that this is definitely what I want to be doing.
Sam saw a job come up in the local paper and decided to apply. It was a traineeship as a plant operator, and at the time, he wasn't sure if it would be for him.
I got put with one of the grader drivers, and every now and again I'd get a bit of experience driving the grader, and it just sort of snowballed from there. I was on this traineeship. I started in March, and a year passed and I got offered the job. But so they increased my pay once I got the full-time job, and they actually allowed me to continue on with the TAFE course. So I was able to finish the TAFE course and continue getting a better wage. The traineeship will get you a Certificate 3 in Civil Construction. Through doing that, you'll get tickets in certain machines, like you'll get your backhoe ticket, you can get a truck license. If you're a good worker and you show initiative and all that, they'll pay for things like that. They'll pay for your truck license, they'll pay for your tickets for certain machinery, everything like that.
Sam enjoys a good steady income, which has allowed him to pursue his other passions in life.
Saved about 20 grand and I bought a Maloo, a nice ute that I love, and I bought a motorbike, a sport bike, and pretty much it's opened up a lot of opportunities for me to do things I want to do, travel around a bit, all that sort of thing, definitely. Well, looking back, some advice I'd give to myself is probably just to try different things all the time, and eventually you'll fall into something that you enjoy doing.
So Caitlin, I like the idea of problem solving. You know, I love technology, I'm into gaming, but I also like working with people and enjoying a good work culture. What would you suggest in local government?
Great timing, Patrick. The next two people we're about to meet have elements of all the things you just mentioned. IT and mapping will quench your thirst for tech and problem solving, and the people and culture coordinator is working with people and culture every day.
In HSC, I did a Certificate 3 in networking and hardware. It also doubled as a HSC subject, and that was the reason I got the job I'm in now. My career journey is still ongoing, I suppose. So I finished school in 2016, and then I worked in a factory for about 4 months until I got a traineeship here at Greater Hume Council.
Max's traineeship went for 18 months before transitioning into a full-time role, which he's been in for about 3 years.
I currently just have 2 certificates. So I have a Certificate 3 in Geographic Information Systems and Spatial Analysis, and I have a Certificate 3 in Networking and Hardware. So GIS, Geographic Information Systems, is something that sounds, super hard and super complex, and I think a lot of people would think, oh geez, I'd never get interested in that, or it just sounds too hard, but it's actually very manageable. If you're enthusiastic and you're interested, there's no reason why you can't do that as a career. Same as IT, look, it's very broad and it can be very daunting, but the thing is there's lots of different parts of it that you can go into, and like anything, if you have an interest in it, it will come naturally for you. I was a relatively average student at school. I wouldn't have said I was a high achiever or a smart kid, so to speak. And I'm still going and doing these types of roles now that people would label as smart, but it's not so much that. It's about whether you're willing to put the time in and the effort to learn it, and that's the biggest thing to remember. Go for something that you're interested in, because then if you're interested in it, it'll all come naturally and it'll be super easy, and it'll never be a hard day at all.
Max also says that study will come a lot easier too if you're interested in the subject. One of the big reasons for Max getting into GIS was because he had a very strong interest in video games. He even developed some, making mainly free, 3-dimensional games that you could download online. And he did this from the age of 14 to about 17.
So lots of landscapes, lots of modelling, lots of characters and all that sort of thing. And you would be surprised the similarities between game development and GIS. There's quite a lot of it. So lots of people that I've spoken to that do GIS actually have a very strong interest in either video games or game development, because there's a lot of overlap. And I mean, if anybody was super interested in that, they could Google it up and they would see that straight away. So GIS is mainly mapping. So it's 2-dimensional maps, 3-dimensional maps, and it's the data that's associated with those maps. So it has lots of metadata attached to spatial objects, which are, if you can imagine, a map, and then you've got a big circle on top of that map showing an area or a region, say, that would have metadata inside it talking about, what is inside that region and what's related to that region. The best advice I can give people at school that want to get into IT or GIS is to just do research on them and find out what it is you like about them.
And he also said to be prepared to ask people if they've turned it off and on again, at least 8 times a day. Jessica Winnett's role in council involves a wide range of activities and tasks, including training and development opportunities, working with staff on remuneration, performance and disciplinary policies, recruitment and selection, onboarding, work health safety, injury management and organisational culture.
My career journey so far has been completing my degree. So I did a Bachelor of Business and a Joint Study of Human Resource Management. As part of my degree, I needed 3 components of work placement, 2 of which I actually completed here at Greater Hume Council, my first and my 3rd year placement. And my employment pretty much led on from that. So council knew of me, they knew of my skills and knew that I was looking for an opportunity. And I feel as though that we've got a bit of a competitive advantage in local government, given that we actually get to work with a wide range of skilled people every day. And I've been able to pick up tips from them and incorporate them into my role now. Some advice that I can offer to students, which is a similar piece of advice that was given to me, is if you're considering uni, go for it. If you are sitting on the fence like I was, submit an early entry application and see what comes your way. I was fortunate enough to get early entry into uni, and that was my decision made for me. I applied for a course that I was interested in at school, given business studies, and I loved dealing with people, hence human resources management. So go for it, give it your best shot. The uni life balance doesn't last long, so enjoy it, and you never know where you might end up.
One of the big benefits of working with local government is that it's totally transportable. So, you know, you might start off working for Greater Hume Shire, but basically, you know, you can work anywhere in any council across New South Wales. You know, you've got lots of opportunities in different councils, big and small, city councils, rural councils, depending on what you're looking for, can offer a different experience for you.
That's all the time we have on this episode of Behind the Career. If you would like to find out more about a career in local government, go to behindthecareer.com.
If you'd like more resources or have questions about a different career path, talk to your careers advisor or teacher about the many options available. Next time, we will look at all the career options in horticulture.
See you then.
Bye.